Richard Hawthorne was a billionaire who had given up everything for wealth, luxury, and a younger wife. But life had surprises in store for him that he had never expected. Richard was a very successful man. He had everything you could possibly imagine. Expensive cars, a beautiful and luxurious house with a swimming pool and a garden full of exotic plants, and a life full of extravagance and glamour. But his greatest pride was his new wife, Tiffany. She was not only young and beautiful, but also the embodiment of the luxurious lifestyle that Richard longed for. Richard thought he had built the perfect life, surrounded by glamour and beauty. However, beneath the shiny surface, his life was beginning to crumble. Richard had left his first wife, Sarah, and their children for this new dream and the life he was now living. The decision to leave Sarah had not been easy, but he had taken the step anyway, thinking he would be happy with Tiffany. Sarah was in shock and grief when Richard left them. She felt betrayed and alone. She had always cared for him, raised the children, and built a life together. When she discovered she was pregnant with their third child, Richard had already left. The news was a heavy burden on her shoulders. He had left her and their children without any care or attention. Sarah now had to do everything alone. The heavy responsibility of parenthood fell entirely on her shoulders. Richard no longer thought of her or the children. He had left them as a shadow of the past, without any regrets or remorse. After a few years, while Richard was walking with Tiffany in the park, something happened that stopped his heart. To his surprise, he saw Sarah, surrounded by three children who looked remarkably like him. They were triplets, and it was immediately clear that they were his own children. The realization hit him like a ton of bricks. He had left behind a family he had never known, and now they were standing before his eyes. The children were playing and laughing, and Richard felt a wave of emotion rush through him. Sarah had raised the children alone, with much love and dedication. She had worked hard to provide them with a good future, despite the challenges she faced. With the support of friends and family, she had created a loving, warm, and safe home for her children. The joy she felt in parenthood was her greatest wealth. Every smile of her children filled her heart with pride and joy. Richard felt a strong need to get to know his children better. He wanted to give them a part of his life, but Sarah was cautious. She didn't trust him anymore after everything he had done. "You can't change the past," she said with a tear in her eye, "but you can be there for them. They are your children too." While Richard thought he had his life together, his problems began to pile up. His once thriving business began to fail. Investors pulled out, and his marriage to Tiffany quickly deteriorated. The love he thought he had found seemed to fade as his problems mounted. Tiffany wasn't interested in being a stepmother to three children, especially when things got tough financially. When the money ran out, so did her love and affection. The final blow came when Richard discovered that his business partner had been stealing money from his account for months. The company eventually went bankrupt. Richard was no longer a billionaire. He was broke and lost. The luxuries he had taken for granted were now just a memory. He was on his own, without the support of his wife or family. Despite all these setbacks, Sarah had built her life with the children as her number one priority. She had created a warm and safe environment for them. With the support of her friends and family, she had flourished and found joy in her role as a mother. The joy she felt was genuine and real. She had learned that happiness does not depend on money, but on love, care, and connection with the people around you. Richard, now penniless and heartbroken, realized he had a chance to change his life. He wanted to get to know his children, but he knew he had to regain Sarah's trust first. He decided to get back in touch with her. He slowly began to build relationships with the children. He went to school activities, helped with homework, and spent time with them. The children were reluctant at first, but Richard did not give up. He knew he had to take his chances and right his wrongs. Although he was no longer rich, he discovered a different kind of wealth that he had never expected. Richard learned that true wealth was not in money, but in love and presence. He found joy in the little things: eating together, playing, laughing, and simply being together. The love of his children filled his heart in a way he had never known. He learned that it is never too late to change, to start over, and to reconnect with the people he loved most. Richard and Sarah found a way to co-parent together. They came to understand and respect each other better. Richard told Sarah, "I can't change the past, but I want to be there for them, now and in the future. Sarah nodded, her eyes filled with a mix of sadness and hope. This story shows us that love, forgiveness, and the strength of family can help us recover from any setback we face in life. It reminds us that no matter the mistakes we make, the true richness of our lives is found in the relationships we build. Thank you for watching Richard Hawthorne's moving story. Subscribe if you would like to see more stories like this. Remember, no matter what mistakes we make or obstacles we face, it is never too late to start over and reconnect with our loved ones. Together, we can experience the power of love and forgiveness.